Okay, I hit the go live button.
Woohoo!
Um,
Right on time. Don't celebrate too soon, I guess.
I name. So, okay. Oh, whoops! I forgot to change the name of the stream. My bad.
Yep, that's right.
Da-
Astarian Part 2 already.
I mean, yeah, but no. Okay, so I used to name the audio clips the weirdest things ever, like whatever the fuck I felt like naming them, but then I realized that that was just a little too extra, especially in the script and keeping them all in order and everything. But now that I had to go back and find a really, really old audio clip, I'm looking at these and I'm like, I don't even remember what the fuck these things are. Like, Garrus and James dick measuring? What is this? Dirty girls? Um, but
Dirty
why
Girl.
not?
Okay, I remember what those are. Garrus and James dick measuring are when they're sitting in the mess comparing like different combat situations, and it's really funny. And then the Dirty Girls is Tom from forever ago, where he's like, "Those are some dirty, dirty girls on that pod." Do you remember?
That's right. Yep, yep, yep. Um, I don't want to know what butter the toast is. Um,
I assume it's something to do with toasty.
I assume that too, but why? Why
Why
is
are
it
you
called?
buttering toast? Is
Why?
toasty's toast?
I don't know. Oh, the quickening. I know that one. That's a Caden line. Um, my human boy. Oh, God. Oh, and then, of course, Steve. I know what line that one is.
Steve.
Steve!
All these are Mass Effect, basically.
Well, I think that's just because the time frame of the audio
Oh
clip that I
yeah,
was looking for was in that.
first maybe Mass Effect 2. I don't know. Oh my
Jesus
goodness.
Christ. Toasty and Jen are too horny to do a podcast. Why the fuck would I name an audio clip that? And why the
I
fuck
don't
would I
know.
keep it?
Also a lie because you have a podcast with him. I'm listening back to the Astarian episode. I heard my cat's purr so much in my clips when I was wearing headphones anyway, listening to it. And
Oh.
I know it's going to be today too because he is a little purr machine right now. Oh no, Daddy Bad Night, who's attacking you for no reason?
Right?
Tell me who.
Oh, you want me
Tell
to
me where.
Camille fan? Alright, where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
I never know if with the E on the end, is it still Camille or is it Camille? Does it depend? I don't know. Pretty name either way.
Can you feel it, Shepard? Feel the quickening? Elusive man better say his prayers tonight, because we are coming for him. Murderous asshole. Oh, yeah. Tide is turning. I feel it.
That sounds like angry
Oh,
and sensual at the
hello,
same time.
hello.
Ah, something fucked up there. Okay, there we go. Should be back to normal now. Let's make sure that that doesn't happen again, and we will. Give me a second.
Okie doke. Oh, I can hear myself. Can you hear me? I mean, you could
I
probably
can.
hear me, but not twice, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's gone now. I love audio shenanigans. We haven't had one of these in a while. It's bringing me back.
Okay, all right. I think.
Yuri Cat. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you.
Oh. Hmm. Okay, all right. Then I think. Looks like we're about to get an ad break in a minute, so we'll fuck around for a minute more. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. Are you back?
I'm here? Did I
Okay.
leave?
No, the fucking.
Is it the wind?
It might be. The wind might be messing with my internet, and that would suck balls.
Yeah.
Because it said that we disconnected from the stream for a minute.
Yeah. My stream is still frozen on my
Okay.
app. Oh yeah, refresh. I forgot
Yeah,
you're supposed to
because
refresh.
my stream is working.
Alrighty. Okay, yeah, it's back. It's better.
Okay.
Alright, do you want to get
Yeah,
started?
let's get this party started. Oh. Let's record a podcast. That would be a good thing. And recording on there. And quick check from you.
For me?
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
And Sam.
So here's your fucking spoiler alert.
Good. All around. Yep. All right. Oh, I should probably open up the script too.
Do you even need it? I mean, you don't just
I
have
do.
thoughts of Gale just tossing and turning in your mind at all times.
I mean, I do. That is also a valid statement of fact now, but I have other words to say other than holy fuck balls, dude. So,
Yes.
okay. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Ship, the podcast where we analyze, rate, and review all that the world of video game romances has to offer. I'm Genesis, the girl who is just at the start of Act 3 on her will run. I did make one quote bad decision though, that I actually have no idea what the consequences will be long term.
But that's half the fun.
Yeah.
And I'm Bravada, the girl with a cat in her lap, wearing a purple sweater with some wine. I just want to know, am I Gale Dekarios?
I mean, I think we are Gale.
For sure.
Kitty is there, wine is there, books are over there.
Oh, yes, the books as well. And I'm quite long-winded. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but
It's more of an Elminster thing, but we'll get to that. So if you're new here, welcome to the beautiful chaos. But you should know that our podcast centers on character and romance analysis and doesn't shy away from exploring the fun of fucking.
or from the deep emotional connections built between two or more characters using specific in-game dialogue. So if you want to stay spoiler-free, then this is not the podcast for you.
So here's your fucking spoiler alert.
Thanks for the spoiler alert, N7. And serious Act 3 spoilers and end of game spoilers. Listeners, beware! Also, on the day of this recording, a ginormous patch dropped, changing many aspects of a lot of the romances, some of them of which we have already discussed. Now, I have an idea on how to handle this situation, but V and I will discuss that offline later. So just keep in mind that the romances we have talked about so far, and the romances that we will probably continue to talk about, are still the patch 5 version. So, just like with all of our previous episodes, we'll assume that you have some background knowledge of the game and character in question, but we'll be providing context for those of you who may be unfamiliar.
Today, we are still in Faerun, but we start in the Western Heartlands in the city of Waterdeep. We will eventually make our way to the Sword Coast. Imagine, if you will, that you show an immense magical talent and promise from a young age. So much so that you attract the attention of the goddess of magic herself. She collects you like a magpie collecting shiny things, but you in your youth and naivete mistake this possession as affection. The gods and goddesses of Faerun do not feel as we mortals do, yet you seek even a glimmer of validation and love in the depthless eyes of your goddess. Each feat of magic is an effort to stay relevant, to earn her love. One day you go too far and touch a magic that was never meant to be, created by the last wizard with far too much ambition. Sick with this tainted weave, you lock yourself away in your tower for a year, desperately researching in any dusty tome for some bit of help. Your goddess has forsaken you. Your Gale Dekarios of Waterdeep from Baldur's Gate 3.
Let's see. I hail from Waterdeep, city of splendors. I am a wizard of considerable acclaim and scholar of exceptional accomplishment. I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry.
Just like V and Gale both said, Gale was born in the city of Waterdeep, and he was a prodigy of magic, learning to wield the weave as well as wizards twice his age with minimal effort or study. Raising such a magical child was clearly a unique challenge. For instance, one year for his birthday, Gale asked for a kitten, but his parents refused. So he summoned himself a Tressim, a magical, talking, winged cat, to be his companion and familiar. Tara the Tressum became his closest friend, and it kept Gale's mother company as Gale aged and left to attend school at the prestigious Blackstaff Academy, a school for wizards and sorcerers. Gale's also almost a mama's boy, speaking at length about her with much affection and nostalgia. He even has her last name, Dekarios, but he doesn't mention his father, at all.
Yeah, maybe he's just like Jesus. His mom's the Virgin Mary. Kind of looks like him. At least it's a lot of widely accepted image of Jesus. Anyway, back to Gale. Blackstaff Academy was the perfect place to nourish his young little wizard mind. And Gale believed he was destined for greatness even from such a young age. You know, that ego dough. Gale was already known to cause some mild magical mayhem, having summoned a magma mephit by accident at one point. But his me and my stupid, what's it called? Where you have a bunch, alliteration. There you go. But his mystical misadventures continued at the academy. He attempted to cast a portal spell with the black staff itself. And while it worked, he didn't end up in his dormitory the way he intended, but instead placed him in limbo. He startled a death slad. Is that how you say that? Death slad. Okay, I'm so scared to say things wrong. He startled a death slad, which made it an angry death slad. And before he could be rotted away, the current Blackstaff Archmage pulled Gale back and punished him with chores. I do love me some good school shenanigans.
Picturing Gale at Hogwarts is amazing, and I love it. Gale was eventually mentored by the legendary and absolutely entirely too long-winded and probably hungry Elminster Armar, a familiar name to those of you who even have a passing knowledge of Faerun. The Sage of Shadowdale assisted Gale in his further mastery over the weave and the arcane arts, becoming something like a father figure to him. All his magical talent was noticed by the very goddess of magic herself, Mystra. She made him one of her chosen, or a mortal who is special to their specific deity. It's unclear exactly how old Gale was when this happened, but he was still young, and Mystra became a teacher, a muse, and eventually a lover to Gale. Like all deities, Mystra's attention eventually wandered from Gale, and he attempted to rekindle her interest in him by showing her that he was her equal.
What can I say? She's Mystra. I can't quite describe it. The need I sometimes feel to see her, to draw the filaments of fantasy into existence. No sculpture or painting could ever do her justice. Only the fabric that she herself is and embodies. The weave. Mystra is all magic. And as far as I'm concerned, she is all creation.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's an incarnation of Mistral. Anyway, enough nerd talk. Or actually, just kidding. It's just starting. So this whole clip is, isn't it weird? Like if you're trying to romance him and Gale's talking about his ex, who's like literally a goddess, doesn't that kind of make it hard to romance him? Like, doesn't it feel weird? What chance do we, mere mortals, have when Gale has tasted the power and essence of divinity? You know, it's kind of hard to compete with. But it'll get better. In his quest to do something so noteworthy it returns his goddess's gaze to him, Gale had heard the tale of Karsus's folly. This spoke of Karsus, an ancient wizard who attempted to reach godhood via his Netherese magic, and instead destroyed himself and his whole civilization. For a brief moment in time, even, all magic was destroyed. Mistral was ended, and Mystra was incarnated moments later, creating some rules for the weave. Like, nobody can destroy all civilization with it now, allegedly. Instead of hearing the Karsus's folly as a cautionary tale, Gale heard an opportunity. He went in search of a tome with a scrap of errant weave, hoping to return a lost part of Mystra to her and earn her approval once more. Instead, he found the Netherese orb.
Mistral was reborn as Mystra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go.
Did you hear that? He calls it Gale's folly, likening himself to Karsus, the wizard who destroyed all magic for a spell. He's right. History bears repeating because of a little something called hubris. This is Gale's tragic flaw. which, like Astarion, may become a fatal flaw depending on player choices. Gale has a ton more opportunities to die than Astarion, that's for sure. Hubris means excessive pride or self-confidence, but specifically in Greek tragedies, where the word originates from, it means excessive pride toward or defiance of the gods, leading to nemesis. Nemesis is the inescapable agent of someone's downfall, and for Gale, it's a dark mass of angry magic balled up in his chest. The orb. Instead of returning a small diamond to an imperfect crown, Gale found a hungry evil magic that needed to be fed pieces of the weave, pieces of Mystra, just to stay quiet. Should Gale activate the orb, or not feed it in time, it will explode, killing him and anyone within a city's length from him.
Oh, sorry. I messed up with my unmuting. Okay. While Gale was tangentially worried about the orb's potential damage, he was more focused on the more painful aspect of his hubris, Mystra's anger towards him. When she learned of Gale's folly, she removed him as her chosen, ended their relationship, and ceased all contact, like she ghosted him. The gods only answered Gale when he wasn't praying, it seemed. Now that he needed saving, he was abandoned, left to deal with this ancient and forbidden magic on his own. It is a testament to Gale's true power as a wizard that he is able to survive at all. He secluded himself in his tower because all wizards need a good tower, and with the help of Sweet Tara, he spent most of his time gathering magical items for him to consume. Perhaps he researched some on how to fix the orb, but mainly he became a hermit, depressed and abandoned by the very goddess who'd once called him special. Somehow, eventually, he must have left his tower, possibly in search of a magical artifact, and was captured by the Nautiloid and given another foreign mass to harbor in his body, an illithid tadpole.
We can assume that Gale tried to portal his way out of the ship before it crashed, but kinda got stuck in the process. You can find him literally stuck in a waypoint near the Nautiloid crash. Now, if you happen to be playing as the Dark Urge, please don't fantasize about hacking off the hand. Or do. Feed your urges. I won't tell anyone. But we are romancing him, so make sure your pull-out game is strong. And, he's part of our party. It's not long after that he tells... Really? You interrupt me, you stupid chatbot, after I just made a pull-out joke?
Oh. I was giggling at that too because I didn't write that. I was like, wait, where is that in the script? Because I didn't look at all after you touched it. Thank God,
get
bot. I love how they're like, hey, sorry for bothering you, but I'm also a bot designed to bother you.
Right, there it is. Report for spam. Boom. 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 Spam. And block it. Alright, I have sprayed the bot be gone. Okay. It's not long after that he tells you about this unfortunate appetite for leather Chanel boots and other such accessories. As long as you give him magical items to eat, you'll earn his approval. Unlike Astarion, Gale approves when you do just about anything nice, but especially in cases where there is no reward. He approves of kindness towards animals and children, avoiding violent situations, and showing interest in the arcane arts.
Oh yeah, get a man to talk about themselves. They sure love it. But Gale, especially because he's just got so much to say in his little brain. He's just so smart. And as one of the most morally good characters also in your party, Gale dislikes unnecessary violence, acts of stupidity, being cruel, and showing judgment for his condition. Like, just, go along with it. Okay, it was an accident. Despite being so morally good, Gale is ambitious. You do not get to be the chosen of Mystra at such a young age without a hefty dose of male confidence. It helps that he's so naturally gifted. They say Shadowheart is God's favorite princess, but I kind of feel like Gale is. Gale's self-worth comes from the pride he has in his intellect. He doesn't have much self-esteem beyond that, and this has even taken a beating from his horrible Netherese mistake. He is still very tempted by power, much like his foil Astarion. One of the few non-evil actions Gale actually disapproves of is if you attempt to destroy the necromancy of Thay, hinting that he has not fully mastered the temptation that dangerous magical items represent.
Hmm. He is also one of the only companions who was all for making a deal with the devil Raphael, even more so than Astarion. Once Raphael has made his initial offer to your party, Gale will have some astute observations on the matter.
Do you feel as flattered as I do? Invited to dine with a devil? Yes, they offer you an apple, but they're the worm that lurks within. Still, don't let his bluster fool you. All that talk of desperation, it merely illustrates his own. I think he wants something from us, badly, and in that knowledge lies our opportunity.
He goes on to say that the two things they know for certain are, 1, their tadpoles are special and more powerful, and 2, that devils hardly go around offering deals for nothing in return. So Raphael must really want the tadpole's power for some reason. He says that they should wait and see what kind of mighty bargain they can make. Also, he says the denizens of the hells can be summoned up by their ambition, as can many humans, Gale himself included. If there's one thing Gale is good at, it's retrospection. Gale is all too aware of his own flaws, but unfortunately, his tragic flaw, his hubris, forces him to constantly overestimate his own power and responsibility. Only through careful prompting from the player will Gale be allowed to narrowly avoid the worst outcomes to his story.
I think his observations on Raphael really illuminate the greater aspects of his character. If there's one thing I think the writers did very well in this game, and to be clear, there's way more than just this one thing, is that each companion is intrinsically tied to the main narrative to varying degrees. It makes each companion feel much more like a main character in their own right, not merely a supporting cast member. That makes it feel like the choices you make regarding them matter, have more impact on the world state. The actions of your companions affect who will come to your aid in the final battle, where you can go, and even if you live or die. Will is the son of the Duke of Ravengard, who is important to the Absolute's plan to take over. Halsin's a childhood friend of the spirit of what's now the Shadow Curse lands, and also like the only way to cure them. Minthara is a former thrall to the Absolute, now out for revenge. Karlach has a justified vendetta against Gortash. Shadowheart stole the artifact, and Lae'zel's a Githyanki, the natural foe to the Illithids. Astarion kind of has the weakest link to the main quest and is really just there to look cute and provide insight into the society of Baldur's Gate. Gale, on the other hand, has the power to take the power that's controlling the Absolute, the crown of Karsus, and become a god if he wants. And if he doesn't, he has the power to single-handedly destroy the Absolute by activating the orb in his chest in Act 2 or Act 3, although I highly do not recommend doing that in Act 2, or really at all, because Gale.
Right? Why waste a perfectly good Gale?
Yeah, please don't.
Gale is connected to the main narrative of the game in a firmer way than the other companions. So his personal quest cannot be finished until you actually finish the game and defeat the Netherbrain, aka the Absolute. He is a slow burn romance with no sex scene in Act 1 at all. I mean, even Will can have a kiss. But Gale will insist that the orb is too volatile for any undue rise in emotion. However, you can have a very touching scene where Gale shares the weave with you. And when prompted, you can get to choose to imagine some romance with Gale, and he will see it. And then he will get adorably flustered.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
Oh, I love that one.
I know. Okay, like even though Astarion is my like ride or die romance, Gale has 13 audio clips for a reason. I think Astarion only had 9. But like, I mean, have you heard Gale speak? I couldn't
Yeah.
help it. He's so cute.
Yep. Yeah, because that was already audio clip number 5. And there's a lot more to go.
I mean, everything he says matters so much too, though. Like he cuts right to the point, even though he also he paints such a pretty picture with his flowery words, his loquaciousness as it is. So, okay, the clip that we just heard, these, my goodness, these first tentative steps into a new relationship will have Gale falling into old habits, unfortunately. That's a trap we often fall into. That is, he is connecting to you through the weave, through magic. He doesn't know what it is to be loved for who he is, as he is, a mortal man. I'm not sure exactly how long he spent as Mistress' plaything, but it was long enough to make him incredibly unsure of his physical self and instead rely heavily on impressing people with magic. Also, not sure how young he was when that started either, so Mistress is a bitch. But Gale is a mortal man, at least for now. When you ask him how he felt about what you imagined your desire to be, he will say this.
Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come.
Yeah, buddy, they do promise things to come. Well, this very dialogue promises further romance scenes to come, too. But more importantly, Gale says right here what is at the heart of his personal quest. And sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. Are they also worth more than divine ascension? That remains to be seen. But for Gale to realize that he doesn't need huge, grand gestures to be enough, it's really wonderful for him. It's all he's known. It's all that's expected of him. To be a child prodigy is to be an adult with anxiety, who expect perfection from themselves. Every failure is personal. That is why he sought some scrap of the weave to return to Mystra. Even after all of his power as a child, his performance at Blackstaff, and being chosen by Mystra herself, and then to become her lover, he still didn't feel like he was worthy. And now he is being asked to die to prove his worth.
At the end of Act 1 and into Act 2, you will run into Elminster himself. Or if you got curious and decided to kill him, you can see it's actually a simulacrum, but in any case, he's real enough to pass on this message from Mystra. Quote, "If you blow up yourself in the absolute, I'll be happy to retroactively forgive you. Okay, thanks, bye." End quote. Not really. Elminster babbles on for a few more minutes about wanting some cheese, and then he goes back to whatever dusty tower he currently inhabits as Mistress Chosen himself. Forced to grapple with his apparent doom, Gale will be quite melancholy for a while. I mean, so would I. Of course, Gale doesn't have to do this, no matter how pressured he might feel by Mystra by proxy of Elminster at first. If Mystra could actually force him to do anything, she probably would have blown him up by now. But the gods can't directly interfere with mortals, so she can only ask. Manipulatively. Why can't I say this word? I haven't had that much wine. She can ask manipulatively, but ask nonetheless.
Or else Daddy Ao will get really pissed. Wow. With the orb stabilized for now, however, Gale is finally free to pursue some more carnal pleasures. But before we get to pulling out all the stops to make love the way that the gods do, or simply be with the man as he is, we need to take a mid-break. So sit back and relax as you hear from our sponsors, listen to some fun facts, and thank our lovely patrons. Mid-break dance. What? What are we stopping at? Manipulatively?
My sister making fun of me.
Yes.
I can't talk. I'm sorry.
It's Gale. He's got you all flustered. He is adorable. I'm trying to think of how we're gonna dance with him. Gale, what dances start with the letter G? I have no idea. No, it is not a fidget spinner dance. I am so mad at that phrase, and I will get into that later, but oh my god, the two of you need to stop. Like,
I
now.
will defend it.
No.
Just wait.
Okay. All right. Well, I read out. Well, let's get to the fun facts, and then I'll Google dances that start with the letter G. Gale is portrayed by Tim Downey, who is primarily a film actor, and I think this is actually his first foray into video games. If you know something different, please let us know. He was in Outlander, Les Mis, and Good Omens. Love that, by the way. Among many other credits. He also has a great TikTok account where he shows off his impressive library. So maybe Gale and Tim aren't too different in their hobbies.
Him is precious and must be protected at all costs. This next fact is really simple but very cute. According to multiple references of in-game dialogue, which you probably noticed if you've played this game at all, Gale's the camp cook for everybody. He makes dinner. Adorable. Love a man who could cook.
Now, if Gale dies in battle, he gets a cutscene unlike the other companions. A magical projection of Gale will be over the body, and implore you to revive him within 2 days. If you don't, meaning that you take 3 long rests, the Netherese orb will blow up and end your game. So don't do it. Or do it. Revive him, damn it.
I need to see this clip. I didn't look it up after seeing this fact. I just want to be like, in 2 business days, if you do not revivify me. Oh, wait, this next fact is yours too. So you can go.
Oh, okay.
You can go.
I was like, yeah.
I didn't change the order. Sorry.
So, I have decided that I am going to pick back up streaming because, I need another thing in my life right now. At least once a week, probably on Sundays, I'm going to stream Baldur's Gate 3, playing as Astarion, romancing Gale, because I need this. I need it.
Do you know their couple name?
The Bloodweave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Blood
Oh,
Weave. That was my plan too. Next playthrough after I'm done with Dark Urge romancing Astarion is being Astarion and romancing Gale. Because then you can learn all the Astarion origin stuff and the Gale romance stuff that I haven't experienced yet. So exciting. Also, I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the stats that Larian released back in December 2023. According to those, Gale is the most played origin character, followed by Astarion, but those numbers back then, it was like 20,000 less. So Gale's a winner by far.
I thought that was updated too, and that now Will was starting to tick up the ranks.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen updated ones. Because it's
Or
only
maybe
been like
that was
2
just
months.
maybe that was just an article I read that people were saying they like to play as Will, not necessarily what Larian put out.
True.
All right. There is a theory that Gale is actually a sorcerer turned wizard due to the manifestation of his magic at young ages. Wizards in D&D learn magic through years of study, but sorcerers gain access to magic innately from something in their bloodline. So if you're playing as Gale, you can tell Halsin a story about how you cast your first spell as a babe. And if Gale becomes a god, Elminster will write in a letter readable in the epilogue that Gale used fireball, not bolt, ball, on a rosebush at the age of 8. A level 3 spell in the 2nd grade? Damn, Gale!
Okay, your cat just said in chat that people play as Gale to not hear him talk. And that makes me upset because Tim Downey did a great job, first of all. And Gale's adorable. So everyone who finds him insufferable, like, check yourself, first of all. I don't know why. He's precious. Okay. The last fact. This I thought was so crazy. So if you make Gale a god, or like if he becomes a god, and then you take a look at him at the epilogue party, there's no combat, so you never get to see any of these in action. But if you look at his character sheet, you will see the following stats and special abilities. His strength is 12, dexterity 20, constitution 18, intelligence 30, wisdom 14, which he needs all the help he can get for wisdom, and charisma 13. And then he has 4 new abilities. One is the Aura of Possibility, meaning all allies near Gale gain a +10 to all ability checks. Then Power Word Ruin is a level 9 transmutation spell. It fires 3 projectiles, each dealing 50 to 100 force damage. So that's cool. Form Sculpt Tressum. It's a level 9 transmutation spell. It turns a target into Tara for 5 turns. And then Divine Revelry. It's a level 9 enchantment spell. It conjures magic ale that applies the irresistible dance condition to all creatures within a 40-foot range. Like what?
Enchantment?
Enchantment?
Enchantment. Yeah, so that's interesting. Now the power word ruin. That's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot. And int level 30 totally makes sense for god level skill sets because that's what it
That's fair.
requires. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um so and then at that point, once you hit god level, you don't need strength. So a strength of 12 just makes you slightly higher than an average normal human. Like an average human is all stats at 10. So anything above 10 means that you're slightly to extremely better than average. Anything below that means that you are subhuman.
I think he was 8 before, so
And a strength of 8, yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
Him and Will and Astarion are all 8.
Hmm. I always respect my stats, and I never let anybody have any negatives unless, like, yeah. Anyways, before I get into gameplay mechanics, let's shout out a new patron. So I don't remember reading any of these names out before, so I'm gonna get us caught up. Huge shout out, major love to 4 new fucking patrons. Are you kidding me? Love that. Ula, a golden Caitlin, Dis, and Lavelany. Now, this brings us up to 21 lovely shipsters. And we thank each and every one of you. Big hearts, major loves to now 21 shipsters. Yay! And special shout outs, of course, to Toasty and Apollo, Becky and Daddy Bat Night, Stoned Miss Theos, Muffiny Cake, Win, and now including Lavelany. V, I know you have something to say about the name Lavelany.
I was literally going to be like, thank you for just having that username, period. Like, great choice. Love it. And also thank you, all of you, for supporting us 2 girls, because we just out here being girls, trying to talk about stuff.
On
And
one
for the most
ship.
part, we do good. Yeah, we're on one ship. And apparently now it's Astarion. It started out as Gale, or not Gale, Garrus. Well, he's still on the ship. We have a little harem, like, of
I
people
like
we
that.
both romance. Yeah, on our ship. Okay, but Jen, before we get to the little deaths, let's set the scene. Gale brings you to a constructed area that he made with some magic, a beautiful place of peace with an uninhibited view of the night sky. Non-romanced player characters will get a chance to sit with Gale as friends and reassure him that no matter what, they will be there for him. Super cute scene too. But if you're romancing Gale, he will share his whole world with you. Or at least the room he spent the better part of the last year in after the orb entered his chest. He might have some bad memories there, but he has mostly good ones, and he wants you to see that place. Okay, Jen, are you ready to be with Gale, mind, body, and soul?
My favorite spot. Many times, evening turned to night and back to daybreak once more while I sat here, lost in words. It's called The Art of the Night, and it details the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other. The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book.
And this is where we have 2 wildly different scenes again. One of them is sweet and gentle and kind. The other hit me so hard, I was literally shaking by the end of it. So let's start with a trust fall. If you choose to have sex like the mortals do, Gale will conjure a forest for you. Like I've said many times before, the trees see everything in favor. You show your trust in Gale and in his magic. You stand in front of him and leap backwards while he conjures a beautiful and solid bed for you to land on. A small gesture towards your comfort. How luxuriating. It's probably the first bed you've slept in months. You invite him, hand outstretched towards him. He takes your hand and he does the body crawl of the gods. When you are hip to hip and mouth to mouth, it is a glorious start. Yet it fades to black way too soon for my liking. Why, oh, why should we confine ourselves to the pleasures of mortal flesh? Combining your spirit, your essence, your soul with Gale. You decide to have your spirits leave your body and you travel to the astral plane, floating through the sea of stars, the mist, and the weave itself. Your astral projections float effortlessly, and you can ask him to show me more. Show me all of it. And this is what it's like. This is what sex is. It is a blending of the body and the soul together. The way that it starts off slow, with gentle exploration of hands and mouth. He says that there is too much to learn and too much to explore all in one night. And it's true. But you can sure try. And he takes your hand in his once again. It shows how your spirits can now join. And the pleasure of just touching fingertip to fingertip radiates throughout your body. I cannot describe the way that this looks. Your spirits blend and pull apart. It becomes multiple bodies, multiple hands, multiple legs, yet never fully separating. Always joined at the core. And in all of my research, all of the scenes I have ever watched, all of the porn games I have played, I have never seen a representation done so well that shows how I think about sex. V has said that sex isn't a priority being Demi. Okay. But whatever the terminology for this is the most important aspect, because this is the level of joy, of out-of-body, soul-lifting, single thought-driven experience. That is who I am. When I watched this almost 3-minute long scene, I needed a glass of wine. And I had to remember how to breathe after. I've never experienced seeing how I feel about the magic of physical touch. I can't wait to watch this scene playing as Astarnian. By the hells, I can't wait to see this as one of my own tabs. Well, fuck it, I might just download that polyamorous mod just so that way I can have everybody all at once. But Gale, however, he isn't into sharing. Unless it's him astral projecting himself. So, no climbing Mount Hausen for me, which is a crime against nature, in my opinion.
Well, then you shouldn't be with Gale. Right? Because he wants monogamy. He's almost obsessed with you, which, that's neither here nor there right now. My reaction, I'm really happy for you that you love that scene so much, because I feel the complete opposite, obviously. Like, we are opposite in all things.
Yeah.
You described it beautifully, and that sounds really interesting to have it described that way, because I watched that scene well before Jen ever did, and I told her that it was two fidget spinners in space, because that's what it looked like to me. It wasn't like I didn't see the connection, because and it's weird because maybe I should have, because it's just your essence, and as a demisexual person that seems like kind of my jam, but all I saw was Gale once again using magic, and it's not really him. It's like this barrier between you and him still. He's trying to blow out all the stops. It's a beautiful scene. You're almost, as Yuri Cat said in the chat, like you're punished kind of as a player who's romancing Gale, and you choose the I want to be with you, the man. And like it's great that he conjures a bed. Like that's classy and romantic, and it's a beautiful ass bed. But like you don't really see much of anything. It's like you see him kissing and it fades to black. And meanwhile, they put a lot of effort into this astral projection scene, and it's really beautiful. But if what you're trying to do is heal Gale from like his past with Mistra, and show him that he is enough by himself, for me, I see that, and I think you should be with him as a person. So that's to me like the quote unquote right choice, or like the best choice for him. But as far as the scenes go, it's a very disappointing scene to a lot of people. So I don't know. Like I prefer just him. I think it's really, I just want to be with him, But so that's my thing. I didn't really care that much about the scene. I actually thought it was a little bit silly with the spinning. Like I didn't connect to that scene at all. But I am in the minority, I feel like, because you loved it. A lot of people I've talked to really loved that scene. So, and it is beautiful to look at.
I mean, there are definitely some weird bits, and I do understand how you get the fidget spinner aspect of it, because, I mean, you do literally spin, and with like 8 to 10 legs and arms and everything like that going back and forth, because of like your soul is splitting and his soul is splitting, and the spirits are combining back and forth. It can look funny, but I mean, obviously, I loved it. I can't get enough of it. Yeah. So before literally, even thinking back about it, I'm losing my words. So I'm going to move on in the script. One of Gale's tropes is the covert povote is the fuck. I'm literally losing my words. This is not good.
One of his tropes is the covert pervert.
Thank
take
you.
It from there. You're welcome.
It takes a bit for him to open up that he wants to connect with you physically. And in contrast to his otherwise bookishly demeanor, Gale does drop a few lines indicating a particular enthusiasm for giving oral. But before I trail off thinking about what that mouth could do, let's hear what Gale has to say the morning after.
I wanted to talk to you about our night together. Have you ever walked to the very edge of a great precipice and shuddered at how easy it would be to step into the void? Ever since Elminster told me of Mistra's expectations of me, it felt like I've been walking along such a cliff face. The great drop to nothingness, never out of my sight. But you led me away from the edge. Without your words, your touch, I fear I would have sought purpose and solace in that void. It reminded me what living can feel like. I hope the end is much farther away than I had suspected. I hope that night meant as much to you as it did to me. And I hope we all have more time together. Together. Alone.
I love, like, that's what does it for me with Gale, is just how poetic he is and vulnerable and open. Like we've talked about how him and Astarion are foils in another major way, whereas Astarion had this very fake, overly, like, cloyingly sweet personality to try and charm you. Gale is just so awkward. It's just naturally endearing because of that. I love him for it. And then, so for this clip, this he's talking about some hard shit right here. I think as his significant other in this playthrough, this is really lovely to hear, though. I know from personal experience how hard it can be to be with someone whose ex is still very present in their life, albeit temporarily. So having that reassurance and honesty that you are what matters to them, that you are who they love now, that's worth a lot. I think that's very reassuring. You can ask him about his feelings on Mistra more directly as well, and he will offer this very mature response.
It's not easy to turn away from one you once loved, but now that I see our relationship with all the illumination hindsight has to offer, I mostly feel only regret. I was not the first wizard to fall under her spell, nor will I be the last. I was an amusement to her. Mortal to be trifled with, amused and eventually discarded. I regret the way I hurt her, of course I do. But she would have seen me destroy myself to earn her forgiveness. There's no love lost between us. None at all.
Ugh, so mature. So, I mean, not everyone's ex is the literal goddess of magic, though. And Gale is also on that peak wizard shit. You know what I mean? High intelligence, low wisdom. See, at the end of Act 2 and into Act 3, he starts getting really excited about the crown of Karsus. Depending on player choices, he can either be prompted to regret his hubris and make a commitment to become more humble, or he can decide to reforge the crown and use it to ascend to godlike status.
Why the sudden interest in the crown of Karsus, you asked? You see, when the Absolute is revealed to be an illithid netherbrain wearing the crown of Karsus at the end of Act 2, that makes Gale's astute and power-hungry mind start spinning. An artifact of Netheril with this much power is intoxicating, and he needs to know more. To the library! Or, more specifically, Sorceress Sundries, Baldur's Gate's premier magical shop with any and all magical needs. In a very secret and secure vault that holds an invaluable tome, the Annals of Karsus. Several tomes, actually, including one of the most powerful spell scrolls in the game, and the final piece to unlocking the last few pages of a book that you might have found in Act 1. But anyways, obtain the book I swear I didn't misread as the Annals of Karsus by any means necessary, and give it to Gale. Gale gets absolutely giddy with the sheer power potential in this book. Not only does it detail exactly what the Crown of Karsus is, but also how to reforge it. Gale realizes that with this, he can become a god.
So what does Gale do? He does what Gale does best. Read. Fueled by his ambition, of course, his new plan begins to really take root. Why shouldn't he have this power? Why shouldn't he take it? Much like Astarion, he has been asked to die at the whims of his so-called better. and he has been presented a unique opportunity to become not only their equal, but perhaps even stronger than them. It all goes back to Mephistopheles, really. He gave Cazador the steps for the rite of profane ascension, and he had the crown of Karsus locked up for 1,000 years. Pretty convenient that it suddenly was able to be stolen. Archdevils, am I right? Who's the real villain here? Oh yeah, the gods.
The Outer Planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refuse to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side.
The setting here is so beautiful. Again, the weave surrounding you. You're in a ship this time, made of magic. The stars are glittering overhead, and Gale opens up to you fully. This is my heart. This is my soul. This is the decision I am battling with. Am I enough for you as I am? Or can I prove my love for you even more by becoming a god?
I used to believe Mistress Forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please.
Oh, when he says, "You make me forget my goddess," that gets me, man. That gets me. Okay. Beautifully delivered, Tim. Okay, so there is a haiku I found which inspired the title of this episode. I love haikus, my favorite. It's called Hubris by Sean McFalls. It goes, handiworks of man, self-raging toward nothing, water in the fist. As beautiful as the words in this scene are, my mind is stuck on what Gale last said. Tell me you want what I want. At this time, what he wants is to take the power of the gods for himself. He's desperate for your approval, as he once was desperate for Mystra's approval too. Once again, Gale is displaying both his hubris and his peak wizard shit, a vicious cycle. He's already tried to claim the power of Mystra for himself, or something like it. What happened? He became a literal time bomb that Mystra now must feed her own weave to in order to sustain the orb. But did he learn anything? Not of his own limits, that's for sure. People often view Astarion as scarier and more evil than Gale, but to me, Gale's motivations for desiring power are much more formidable. Astarion wanted to be safe, but Gale? He's just as hungry for magic as his orb. He will never be satisfied.
So it's actually remarkably easy to turn Gale from... No. It's not easy for me to turn Gale
Romanced
from...
him.
Oh,
I get
okay.
to it later.
Yeah, because I personally haven't been able to convince him to not go swimming for the crown yet. This is my 4th playthrough. So, yeah. I think that has a lot to do with me and my gamer style of, yes, I need more power, and oops, I've used up all my inspiration points by this point, and I can't convince you to not go swimming. So, becoming a god is considered his evil ending, but once again, no judgment. I kind of like God Mode Gale. He's a jackass, but there's something still about him that hits a button for me. Your playthrough is your playthrough. Although, if we're talking about what is best for Gale's character development, V thinks it's not becoming a god, however cool that is. Unlike with the other companions, when it comes time to try and convince Gale to not pursue reforging the crown of Karsus for himself, you can convince him without any kind of dialogue check if you've romanced him. It's harder for players who didn't romance Gale to convince him. But he can be convinced, apparently. It is as simple as asking if he is your lover, though. Gale aims to please, and above all things, he wants your approval. Once you've defeated the Netherbrain and convince him to return the crown to Mystra, Gale will say this to you.
I've decided to drop this whole Gale of Waterdeep business. It's a bit pompous, don't you think? You're now in the company of plain old Gale Dekarios, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the Dekarios clan.
Before I get too much hate, yes, I'm aware this is the better option, but I have to play the devil's advocate. I kind of like God Mode Gale, okay?
Once again, you can like that all you want. I'm just saying, if what you're doing to your companions is what feels good to you, without considering what's good for them, you're the main character. Do it, I guess. But once again, it's just what you feel is right for you, not necessarily for them. Also, just side note, one thing I didn't like about this is if you tell him to give the crown to Mystra, like she fixes his orb, so it's not a problem anymore, which I love. But there's no way, at least when I played it last, when you convince him to do that, the dialogue option also includes you like saying, "Oh, and then you could be her chosen again." And I'm like, "Fuck Mystra, I don't want him to be her chosen again. I just want her to fix the orb and do what she owes him because he's giving her the crown of Karsus, right?" So I'm not really sure because in the epilogue it didn't really say if he was her chosen or not, but the dialogue option I picked made it seem like he would become her chosen again if he gave her the crown. So hate that. I wish it could just be like, "Here, Mystra, fix my shit. Here's your stupid crown. I never want to see you again." But I don't think that's possible. So yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about why I still think it's better than God Gale. But okay, going back to this clip. What's clear is Gale loves you so much. No matter if you've got some extra tentacles here or there, I should add. Gale will go on to become a professor at Blackstaff Academy, and during the epilogue party will be his normal, adorable, nerdy self with a happy Tara in tow. It feels very full circle to me. It is full circle. Gale has forgiven himself for his mistake, but he also has Mistress forgiveness too. Not that he needed it, but it helps for his orb. And he has dropped his ambition, content to live a life as a very talented and powerful wizard with no designs on anything more. He's free of his hubris. In the words of Thomas Merton, when ambition ends, happiness begins. His insecurity, his desperation, his poisonous desire for power, all have been healed through the love and support you gave him. So now he can sit still, thankful for what he has. But what does it look like if he does ascend to godhood?
So let's go back in time and agree with Gale. We do what he wants. We push Gale to reforge the crown and take what he feels he deserves. In some playthrough, God Gale will challenge Mystra to become the new god of magic, and she will smite him down. And all of that, he was reduced to a crisp, another mortal whose name is added to the archives by Withers. But what happens if Gale decides to claim his own godhood? If he is divine and reduced to one aspect, what embodies him most?
I imagine you're wondering how all this came to be. The finer points of divine ascension are beyond mortal comprehension, I'm afraid, but I can provide a rudimentary sequence of events. First, I retrieved the crown of Karsus and reforged it using a series of precise and highly complex Netherese incantations. Then, I used it. As you know, the orb within me was the half-formed Karsite Weaver. Magic left incomplete by Karsus' self-destruction. I finished it. Using the crown of Karsus, I turned it into a new form of magic, fused with my being, driven by my purpose. And then I put it to work. As expected, Mystra was unwilling to hand over the reins of the weave, so I've claimed dominion over another area which I've passing familiarity. Ambition.
There's something about the way that he says passing familiarity. It just kind of hits my brain in a weird way. And I don't hate it. In fact, I had a war cleric that I played in real life all the way to level 20. And this is what she became at the end. A goddess in her own right. Because she did what was necessary to save the world. Jenny, who let Bahamut use her body as a conduit to fight Tiamat. Jenny, who had given everything she was to her goddess, was betrayed by a secret reveal. I see you, god of ambition, and I would love to have seen what Genesis, the goddess of passion, would have been like with you.
Of course, you're the goddess of passion.
Well, passion on every level. Passion of like love and caring and adoration and lust and vengeance and hatred. Anything that could light a flame of passion. Jen was there.
I think that's important to remember about deities and what they represent. They're bound to all aspects of it. So one trope used to craft Gale is called simply ambition is evil. Ambition is pretty neutral most of the time, but when followed blindly, like in Gale's case, that's when it becomes hubris. That's when it leads you to your nemesis. Gale becoming the god of ambition is almost an ironic hell for him. He will now never be able to stop trying to challenge other gods for their dominion. Because he has to always go for more, right? That's ambition. He's forever trapped. Some have said that Gale, as the god of ambition, isn't actually an evil or bad ending the way that Ascended Astarion is. But just as Astarian's worst traits were expanded and pushed out all his redeeming qualities in favor of his flaws, so too is Gale's godhood. His own mother mourns him as if he were dead, because he might as well be. His endless curiosity, his awkward charm, and his kindness were replaced by his divine ascension, as he called it. He's now the embodiment of ambition, the very god of it, which was also his tragic flaw. His very hubris is now the only thing left. And his voice just sounds different, like Astarion's did, you know? He doesn't sound the same.
No, Gale's voice definitely sounds different. It's his god mode. I do love the fact that a romanced god mode Gale will take you with him and give you a piece of his weave and make you a goddess or a god in your own right. And you get to travel the path and figure out what god you are together. He does call you his lover. He does still, epilogue is a little glitchy, or it was, so he still refers to you as immortal in some pieces, and so hopefully now with the patch 6, everything's a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. You can still clear gods don't feel the way mortals do. Same with vampire lords and vampire ascendants. He might say pretty things to you. It's another thing to know if it's real. It doesn't sound as real as it was once with Gale or with Astarion, the way their voices sounded when they said those things to you before. I think it is a little bit better with Gale because it's like you're another god. I'm not sure if him granting you deity is in any way lesser to his, or if you're an equal, whereas you're not an equal with Ascended Astarion. So like he might have that going for him.
I believe in D&D godhood, there is no greater, lesser, different god. Like there's our minor gods and major gods in a lot of religions in the real world. I don't think that applies in D&D. But yeah, right. I really, really want to get to this next bit. Because I think I've said everything that I have to say about Gale. He's really, truly the character that I'm okay with going either way. I need to see him in one of my own playthroughs not going God mode, though, and that might change it. So, that, lovely listeners, is where we would normally end our show. But I have a very special guest to introduce tonight. Whoa, I don't know how to describe this man. He's been called my husband, on the internet at least. He's been called a deviant. He's been called Warden Commander. He's been told to go to his room. But now he needs to jump into this one. Kolka, where are you? Get in here. If you fell asleep on me again, you are going to be in so much trouble. There he is.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yay, hello. I do have one last clip to play before we truly get into talking about Gale Dekarios.
Kolka Shins. Kolka Shins, you are in trouble. Go directly to your room.
Kick him in the...
That was from forever ago, but I had to play it.
I know that was during one of the like a D&D charity thing, but what did I do that like earned that? I can't even remember now. The clip is just burned into my memory, but nothing else is.
So what happened in that moment was that Austin, aka Teacup, created a wheel of random encounters, and for every $5 or like $5 or $10 donated towards the charity, the wheel got spun. You jumped in and donated $100 to charity and fucked the D&D campaign so hard. It was for a good reason, though.
Yeah, it's for a good cause.
But that clip is forever ingrained in my brain. Kolka Shins, go straight to your room. I love that. That was one of our big first major interactions. But please do let us know who you are for those of you. Actually, I don't think you've ever been on the girls before.
I've not. This is my first time. I'm super excited.
Welcome in. Listeners might know you from the Dragon Age Lorecast. You do guest on there frequently. Are you on any of the other shows?
I've guested on the Assassin's Creed Lorecast once before.
And your name is read out every week on the Mass Effect Lorecast, which you've never been
Yes.
on, though.
Okay, I have been on that one. It's been a while since I joined in, and I need to. But yeah, my name is Kolka or Kolka Shins or Cash. Um, any which one you all want to choose from, and my pronouns are he him.
Thank you, dear. Can you give us a little bit of your origin story and how you came to love Baldur's Gate 3?
So, another friend of mine, Sean, in the Discord, in the Cup server, he got me Divinity Original Sin 2, which was also made by Larian Studios, and it was a turn-based game, similar to Baldur's Gate, but a little bit different mechanics. I very much enjoyed it. The launcher always had it had the original Divinity, Original Sin, and then Divinity Original Sin 2, and then Baldur's Gate 3. And one day I was like, so what's Baldur's Gate 3? This was before the full game had launched. He had been playing the beta for like I think a couple of years by that point. He was like, oh my God, I will tell you all about it, and the full game is going to be releasing this summer, or in August, a couple of months from now. So I played the open beta version, and then the full game launch. Didn't have to wait that long, but I was already hooked by that point. Absolutely loved it.
So did you pick Gale? Or, okay. I guess, did you pick Gale on your first playthrough back then, or did it change over time?
I picked Gale both times in the beta and then in the full game. I just wanted to continue on and see where the rest of the romance led, as you all said earlier. There's not a whole bunch in Act One for Gale's romance, but I still just really enjoyed the character. I was drawn by number one, wizard, him being a wizard. I was playing as a sorcerer, so not a whole lot of use all the time to bring him with me in the party, but I still love, like, oh my God, you are the other magic guy. Okay, we're gonna be best friends. And then I was like, oh no, I really like you. You're
Oh.
super cute. So I was just like, I have to see where this is going.
So we discussed a lot of things about Gale today. Did you learn anything new?
Um, I I don't think that I knew him summoning Tara like at that young of an age, and his parents saying like, no, you can't have a cat. Um, that was new to me, and I liked that. And then the one where I'd had dialogue with him where he talked about being a student at Blackstaff Academy, but I hadn't heard the one where he said that he was disciplined. What did he do? You said it was like one of the earliest like fun facts you said.
Yeah, he used the black staff to try and teleport back to his room, and instead teleported himself to limbo and had to get rescued.
I hadn't heard that one. That's that On the similar vein there, I really like the theory that maybe Gale was a sorcerer first, and then when he lost all of his magic, then he was like, okay, I'm just, I had it before, we can get it back. This time I just have to do it the boring way of reading everything this time.
Hmm. Or maybe he just didn't understand it as a child and didn't have a teacher, and so thought he had to learn it through sorcery. Like maybe it skipped a
Hmm,
generation. Yeah.
I like that a whole lot.
Who knows? Now, are there any key factors that we missed? Things that would have brought more depth to this romance?
I think you guys were very thorough in all of the content that's out there. I it's one of those things like I just want to know literally everything about this man. I want to know more like where's your dad? Like I want to hear that story. I want to hear more about your relationship with your mom. Was some family issues? Is that kind of what did that contribute at all to Gale becoming so involved with Mistra in terms of like his susceptibility to that influence, his vulnerability there, and it's those kind of details that I want to know more about from him.
I want like a DLC where we go to Waterdeep and we have to like track down all the magical artifacts, like, or track down all the places he stole them from and like pay them back or something cute like that.
That would be very cute, especially because I think in mine Gale proposed to me, and I was like, "Yeah, let's move to Waterdeep. Let's go." I want a DLC of us playing a house in Waterdeep together.
Oh, so now I have to know. Are you married to Gale? Or are you his lovely god? Like, are you gods together?
Okay, when I did the romance, he did not become a god, and this was before the epilogue came out, and so I haven't romanced him with the epilogue. I have not seen the god ending, but it's just us as two regular mortals. I think because Ravada, you said that you keep trying to get the ending where he does not pursue the crown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I only did one ending so far, and like it seemed like the only option was he either was going to go get it himself or I could convince him to give it to Mistra. Like I didn't realize there was an option to have him just leave it, you know? I just didn't
Yeah,
want him to have to be Mistra's chosen anymore. So I was like, forget her, girl. Get your earring out
yeah,
of your ear, first of all.
100%. I kind of want to see the god ending. And I think I might like it because my first playthrough, okay, my first two playthroughs, regular and then a Dark Urge, I ascended Astarion, and I feel like, you know, I've dipped my toes in that water. Now let's apotheize Gale next.
See, here's my problem is that I just want to see it. I just want to know what it's like. And then I'll know that I don't want it as much as I want it the other way, but I want to know what the Ascendant Vampire Lord and his god like boyfriend are going to be like together. And then can Gale then ascend the Vampire Lord to actual godhood?
Yeah, he can apparently. I kept getting recommended a YouTube video about it when I was doing the research. I'm like, I don't care. I don't want none of
Mhm.
that. You guys can have it.
I just want to see it. I can always save Scum another 30 hours back in the game. That's not a problem. I just want to see it for science and sex and science.
Sexy science.
Hmm. Okay. I'm sorry, this question is not on the list, and it might be personal. But which scene do you prefer?
I am obsessed with the with the astral projection scene. Absolutely obsessed. It feels like you were saying, Jen. It feels like the epitome, the zenith, the absolute culmination of bliss as a concept.
Mm.
Like it's sublime to me. That is the only word that I can think that succinctly describes it. It's that melding, both that melding of their their projections, their souls, their emanations, and then also just like the thinking like of the sensations that you would be feeling from all of that. I love it.
Oh, okay. I was like, I cannot be the only one.
Mm.
That the way that you said that, the personification of bliss in visual format, I, mm, I don't know what to do with myself. I am literally and physically and mentally and to my soul changed by this game. Mass Effect changed the way that I saw video gaming. Mass Effect is always going to hold, and it brought me to so many people. It brought me to you, it brought me to V, it brought me to Sam, it brought me to Cloudy, it brought me to Queso, who I literally had lunch with today. Like, these are people who are now in my life because of video gaming. But Mass Effect didn't actually change the way that I feel as much as Baldur's Gate has. And this scene now has done something for me that I did not expect at all.
Yeah. I love it. It's so good.
I just wish
Yeah.
that the other scene had as much effort put into it. I was just saying that in the chat. Like, I love that there's a choice because clearly, like, people either really like the astral scene. I thought it was, I just couldn't take it seriously. And I know I'm not the only one either, but like, for those of you who want it, I'm glad you have it. I just wish that the other option was also fleshed out, literally, you know, the same way. Like 3 minutes of tangible sex, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that like I think that Gale would in reality, if Gale were real, he would put about the same amount of effort into both options. I understand like the developers couldn't do that, but like, yeah, 100% Gale would be going, you know, to the tens for the more toned down. I won't say mundane, toned down, atmosphere, and putting just almost the same level of care and attention to the subtleties of the environment, and like making sure that you feel as comfortable as possible, as warm and safe and loved, and still a different but still an equally deep level of connection there, and we just don't get that.
I fully agree with that. Because of the fact that the astral scene is over 2.5 minutes long. That is such a huge amount of cutscene time. It's astonishing to begin with. But then the in the bed scene is literally seconds, and all you get is you're just lying there in missionary for half a second. If there had been some rolling around, some pillows flying off of it, show me something,
Like
anything.
we don't even see the leg thing with Astarion's graveyard sex scene unless you have a mod installed, and still people are wild for it. So it's like, even though it's shorter than Ascended Astarion scene, it feels kind of more equal, you know? And then Gale's romance scenes overall, there's only 3. And as Yuri Cat in chat pointed out, one revolves around his ex, one is extremely short if you pick a certain option, and the other is kind of an argument in a boat. It's a very pretty boat. But you know what I mean? Like, it's it's not as carnal. I think it's the duality things. We were talking about this earlier too. Like, people contain multitudes. He can be a very sweet, vulnerable, genuine nerd, and he could also be a freak. He's definitely a freak. Okay, you telling me this man is his probably first experience with sex is with a goddess, and he didn't pick up some skills? Okay, maybe not his first, but at least he's got some skills, right?
Yeah. There are a couple of things about Gale that we did not talk about. The fact that Gale also has some pretty negative qualities when it comes to jealousy. There's also the quality that he can get a little creeper vibes. Actually, a lot of big creeper vibes. I don't know if you've experienced this one, but if you if you are kind of like flirty with him, but you haven't fully locked in his romance and you go to the twins, and you don't pick him to have the foursome with you, he will astral project himself into the room without your permission and just stand in the corner and watch. No, you don't like that?
I mean, okay, me personally, I would not mind it, but that's me personally. But I also am, it's the lack of consent, obviously. That's like, no.
Yeah. If we had talked about this beforehand, Shep, maybe. Um, sorry, that was a Caden line. If we had talked about this beforehand, Gale, yeah, you can probably watch. I mean, I'm paying for sex and you were in the room while I had this discussion. Yes, Gale, you can come in and watch, but you didn't ask ahead of time. Consent is key, damn it.
He just wants to be in the room where it happened. I need a Hamilton reference in every episode now, okay?
See how the sausage gets made.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people really don't like the jealousy aspect. For me, it's like he gets over it. Part of it is that's his healing journey, right? Like, obviously he's jealous because he had affection withheld so much. And also he can just be jealous for being jealous' sake. Like, it's not a healthy thing to do, but it makes him feel way more normal, honestly, because you can address it with him. But yeah.
Jealousy is valid. I don't need everybody in this game to be polyamorous. That would make it boring.
Mm-hmm. It's the flaws that make them real.
Yep. Right. As somebody who's done multiple playthroughs, what makes you want to come back each time?
It's the degree of the branching decisions that it can feel like a different game almost every time you play it, or at least for several playthroughs at minimum. And I can't think of any other game that feels like that, and where you feel the evolution of your choices from act to act to act. Like, as much as we all love the Mass Effect series, and there is the continuation from game to game, certain the gravity of your consequences, but it doesn't feel like it culminates, or it doesn't feel like it continues in the same way as it does in Baldur's Gate to me. Same thing with Dragon Age. Like, we don't get that same level. It's more of like, here's a little Easter egg or a callback, and maybe it'll show up for like 5 seconds in a cutscene or something, or be part of the in-game calculus for what ultimately is going to happen. Whereas this feels very much like, oh no, like, you recruited all these people. You've been saving these people's asses for 3 acts of this game. They're going to show up to help you when you give them a call. And I really like that. All of that.
I love that. Oh, all right. Before we wrap up the show for the night, is there anything that you want to shout out or plug?
No, besides all of the Discord servers, the Two Girls One Shit Discord server, the Cups Discord server, your all Strict channel, N7 robots, all of them, they're all absolutely wonderful. And it is through all of that I got to know you guys, and the opportunity to be here to hang out with you all today to talk about my favorite romance, my favorite character, and my favorite game.
Oh, is there anything overall big Gale wise that your final and last thoughts on Gale Dekarios?
I'm so down bad for this man. It's not even funny. I need as much of him as I can get.
Oh. All right. I think that sums it up perfectly. Oh, all right. So, If you like what you are hearing, please be sure to leave a review on iTunes or on Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can now find me on the Cyberpunk Lorecast with my co-host Toasty, where we explore the foundations of the past, the state of Night City today, and the news of the future for all things cyberpunk. Check out Scyther Audio's newest fan-made production, The Avengers, the audio drama, where you can hear me and a few of our podcasting friends. You can also reach out to me on the Two Girls One Ship channel on the Robots Radio Discord, and come give us a follow on all the social medias and on patreon.com/twogirlsoneship. Our theme music was composed by the ever-talented Pipeman Studios, and our artwork was designed by the esteemed Let's Not. Links to those are in the description.
I am also on the Robots Radio Discord and on our own Two Girls One Ship Discord server, where we nerd out on all our favorite CGI significant others. Be sure to check out our live streams on Twitch on Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Our podcast episodes release on Mondays because you need at least one good thing on a Monday.
So thanks for listening, and remember,
beauty is in the eye of the controller. Clearly.
Oh, 138 with me.
Yeah, that's a long one.
But not too bad, actually.
I know, I kept seeing like, oh gosh, it's going to be really long because we have so much to say still. Like, I was looking at the script and the time.
But it's just a lot of content for him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not like
and
it's, you know, to omit some of it, it's like, are you diminishing the whole?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I think you guys did a great job.
It's
and
so
are
hard.
you fucking kidding me? Did you see the update that they put in there? Like
I only
today,
saw the kissing updates. I don't know if there's like other stuff for the romances besides the kisses.
Gale gets down on bended knee to propose
I
to
saw
you
that.
now.
Oh,
Like,
Oh, no, I didn't see that. I did not see that. I need to see that.
a nice surprise for you. I got pissed because they fixed in my most recent playthrough, I had knocked out Minthara and I just got to Moonrise Towers and I expected her to be there and she wasn't. And I found out you were supposed to knock her out when she wasn't aggroed, only temporarily aggressive at you. So I messed it up. But then the patch they released today changed that. So you just have to knock her out. Like, they made a lot more ways, valid ways to knock her out and recruit her later. And I'm like, great. So now, I mean, I have a save, but I'm like, do I go back? Like, 15 hours to just do it next time, you know?
Just do it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you do get to kiss him now. You've been able to kiss Gale for a while, as far as I know. Like, yeah. Oh. That felt good.
Thank you guys so
That
much
felt really good.
for having me.
Nice to
It
finally
is-
talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. It is 12:18 here, though, so I
Go to bed, babe. Go to bed. All right.
Bye. Thank you guys so much.
Mwah. Love you. Goodbye.
I'm pretty sure my sister fell asleep on the couch a long time ago, like trying to keep up with us. It's fine. She'll be here.
Night,
next week.
Yuri. Yes.
Night, Yuri.
I cannot wait for her to get here. And then I'm going to see you tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I must go.
What is this? This is Gale.
Did I stop my recording? I did. Okay.
Still love this. Actually, there's a whole clip.
Shins. Kolka Shins, you are in trouble. Go directly to your room.
Kick him in the shins. I heard kick him in the shins.
Kolka Shins just donated
Kick him in the shins. Got it.
$100.
I am.
$100. Do you know how many
What?
spins that is? No.
Wait.
Stop it.
What happened? What did I miss?
$100 dono.
This is me, Kolka, or me, Aaron. That's Almighty Crit, and Toasty in playing D&D with Psych and Teacup as the DM. Yeah,
Aww.
I was like, my god, that was forever ago.
I remember that. I think I watched part of one of them, or I can't remember. One of those charity streams.
Yeah.
Good times.
Okay.
Anyway,
All
I
right.
love you.
I
I had
love
a terrible night
you.
last night, so I'm excited for bed.
Okay. Go to bed.
Good night.
Goodbye.